Hi guys, in this video, I want to tell you why I hate vibe coding and why I think as engineers, as software engineers, we should not be vibe coding. Instead, we should be doing something I like to call agent-driven education, or AiDE for short. And I'm going to be showing you a practical way how you do this. Let me show you how I use AI to learn. I have this tutorial or this repository that I'm currently working on. I'm trying to learn LangGraph because I'm trying to build a project using LangGraph. And initially, I tried building the project by prompting the models, Claude to be specific. And I discovered that while it was, getting the job done, it wasn't really giving me what I wanted, but I couldn't quite pinpoint what it was. And I think that's the problem with vibe coding, because you are just reading code. Okay, yes, I want a blue button. Yes, Claude does it. I get a blue button. But you're not actually getting a taste of what Claude is doing. You're not implementing it yourself. And you may say, oh, vibe coding allows you to read, it allows you to learn, and I agree to some extent. I have discovered some patterns through reading AI's code that has helped me to understand things better. But if you're just new to a technology, if you're just trying to, get familiar with a technology, I don't think you should be vibe coding. You should be using agent-driven education or AI-driven education, and I'll get to that in a second. But I want to talk about why vibe coding may not be bad, or why using AI or relying on AI to build things may not be bad. So you see, the way I see AI is AI was developed for businesses. It was developed for companies. It was developed for business owners. Because as business owners now, if you own a bakery, you don't need a software engineer. You don't need to go on Upwork, Fiverr. You don't need a tech person to develop a basic website for your business. You have AI that can do that now at probably the fraction of the cost. You may not exactly get something really beautiful or advanced and all, and that may be because you're not really good with using AI to do things like that, but it gives you that very foundation for your business, right? And also companies, take these big companies that we work for, they want to ship things faster. You want to compete with you want to be number one. You want to get to the market first. You have competitions that you have to, compete with, you have to do better than. And as engineers, we're provided with these tools to ensure that we can implement code faster and also get things out faster. But the problem is, some things you do, depending on the complexity of the problem, it requires you to actually understand things in depth, right? You should know the foundations. And so if you're trying to implement something using a database you've never worked with, why are you going to be relying on AI to do that without really understanding the technology? And in my opinion, you become way better at doing your job, at being recognized for the impact you have, when you actually understand the very foundations of what you are implementing. Like I said, say you've only worked in SQL databases before, and a new requirement comes that requires you guys to use a MongoDB or an object storage, and you've never worked with an object store before. It is suicidal, in my opinion, to just jump into your VS Code or your Cursor or whatever you use for your coding agents and just start prompting it for it to implement that. Like, I don't want to be that kind of teammate, and I don't want to work with someone like that, because coding is meant to, yes, get stuff out, but it's also meant to teach you. It's also meant to grow, right? And the way I like to think about our lives as programmers is that when you look at choreographers, right, and you watch the Olympics, and I don't know what the sport is called, but these women and men who are so synchronized in their movement and all, that came about through repetitive practice. Like, it came about through them, practicing it over and over again. And if there's any secret I could give you to learning, is that you need to repeat things over and over again. And that is what actually writing code does to you. That's how you grow, because then you've written the code, you've written it, typed it out yourself, even copy and pasted it from Stack Overflow, and then you realize that, okay, you run it doesn't work, you try to fix it, you run it again, it doesn't work, or it works, you try to understand why. There's this favorite meme that I really like, where your code runs, why? Your code doesn't run, why? Right? But you are actually writing it. You are immersing yourself in the code. And that's how I learned how to write code. And that's how I learned how to be a software engineer. And don't get me wrong, I'm not here to point fingers at anybody. I've actually made this mistake so many times. I mean, that's how I started building my project. But going forward, I want everything about me to radiate excellence. And if I'm putting out code that AI is the one who implemented most of it, I want to be pretty confident that what is out there is the right thing. So what is AI-driven education? For me, I see AI-driven education as a form of implementing code or getting software out in a way where AI acts as the reviewer and you act as the implementer, right? And this is useful, say you're implementing code in an existing code base, or you're starting out with a new technology that you have no idea about, but like you should be writing the code and AI should act as the reviewer. Because to be honest with you, I'm not smarter than a large language model that has hands and tools that can consume enormous amount of data. Large language models probably have the entire spec of C++, right? And there's just a subset of the language that I know. So I can't compete with the quality of understanding that the model may have, but I can compete in the context of understanding, right? How things are meant to be, how they connect between systems, right? I don't think that problem has been solved yet in large language models, but I have understanding and context. I can hold relationships in my head. And so I should be the one writing the code, but the AI agent should be able to review the code individually, right? And this is how I learn with AI. I basically have it act as a reviewer. I tell it, do not write any code for me. Let me implement it. You review my code. But enough of talk. I feel like I've talked so much. Let me just show you an example. So this is a project I'm working on, and it's a project I'm using to learn. And let me just clone it to my local system so I show you it practically. And now I'll open this in anti-gravity so that we have an AI agent that we can prompt. But I will show you something that I do that you may want to also start doing. So let's just have it. Great. Okay, I've exhausted Claude. All right, so I'm using Gemini here, the IS model. And let me just show you the directory. So I have here LangGraph learning curriculum, where I basically have the AI agent gain the understanding of LangGraph. I even connected a LangGraph MCP server. It's not working for some reason. I don't know if that's because I misconfigured it or LangGraph is having issues, but I basically had it get all the information it knows about LangGraph and then develop a curriculum for me. And the way you can just do that is easy. With some prompt, you can just say, I want to learn LangGraph. I'm not going to run this, but this is how you could have it basically go out, do research, and you should tell it to use the internet so that it gets the latest information. And once it develops a curriculum, is that it divided it into 4 categories: beginner, intermediate, advanced, and expert. And it basically put the couple of concepts that it thinks I should know, right? And key import, and it even provided documentation links, right? And then it now provided the task spec, something like you would, like a product manager or a scrum master would present to you as a software engineer, right? For you to understand the context of the task that you're implementing. All I just need to do is basically come here, create a new file based on the task. So I've done this up onto task 7. This is task 1, and my objective was I was to create my first LangGraph AI agent that creates a user by name, and I should create a state. It tells me what state to create. I should create a grid node, and I should build a graph, and it even gives me acceptance criteria. And then once I've implemented it, I go back to the AI agent. I tell it, okay, I've implemented the code. I want you to review it, check for patterns, check if I use best practices, things like that. And it goes ahead to basically give me feedback. Once it is satisfied with my implementation, what happens then is that comes to the end, and it basically keeps track of my progress. And as you can see, for task 6, I implemented it a separate way, and it acknowledged that and said, work via short circuit, knife, missing init fix. So it actually gave me like something that I missed in my implementation. But yeah, I'm currently on task 8 trying to implement task 8, and that's why you see that this is pending, right? And one thing I also do, because like I said, I want to write the code. I want my hands, I want my mind, my spirit immersed in the code. I want to be frowning because the code is giving me problems. That is how I learn. That's how it's going to get ingrained in my head. And the way I do that is I do not use any coding assistance. You know those autocomplete things that when you're writing code, you see autocomplete? No, right? And what I do is I have VS Code. I use VS Code instead because I don't know how to disable it in anti-gravity yet. So I have VS Code. And what I do is that once this opens up, I basically have it, I think, even automatically configured where I have auto suggestions off. I have Cloud Code, but like I don't have Copilot or any of VS Code's agents, right? But if I did, what I would have done is configure inline suggestions and I would have disabled it. And so that way, everything that you're seeing here was basically written by me. I still get the auto suggestions. I still get the function or method suggestions when I hit dot on my keyboard. But that is, I'm not trying to cram the implementation or the language spec or the module spec. I'm trying to learn how to use it, right? That's how I use AI to learn and to improve my understanding of things. Agent-driven education. I think AI-driven education sounds more appropriate. AiDE, let me know if this is something that you already do, because I don't think it's like novel, right? I'm sure a lot of people already do this. Some people may not know, which is why I'm sharing this, right? So let me know if this is something that you'll be using going into 2026 and beyond. And also if you're like me who doesn't like vibe coding, I personally don't like it. But guys, thank you so much for watching. It means a lot. We're almost at 100 subscribers, like 100 human beings have given me the gift of their time to watch my videos, no matter how bad it is and no matter how much I ramble. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Please like, share it and subscribe. Share it to someone who you know need this. But thank you so much and I'll see you next time.